There she is, the city beautiful, Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Jose Abreu and our Sox as they get set to butt heads with Torrey Hunter, Trevor Plouffe, and Paul Molitor surprising Minnesota Twins. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you the finale of this three-game set, and it will be the rubber match. They won the opener by a score of 6-2. They scored 3 in the top of the ninth. And yesterday we scored 7 in the fourth and won that ball game 8-2. And, you know, this has not obviously been a good season, and it's easy to overlook the bullpen, but ours have been getting it done.
For a long time, the bullpen has been good, and last night they were very good, and that certainly helps when Robin can go down there, pluck anybody out, and they get the job done. Last night, 3 scoreless innings on 3 strikeouts. As you can see, the ERA from June 30th is second in the major leagues at 2.84. So this bullpen has been good. It's got good balance, got a couple of left-handers, got some guys who can close, certainly in David Robertson, and also some guys who can get him the ball to close.
Well, Chris Sale on the bump up today, and he has been exceptional. But this team right here is giving him a lot of problems.
Unfortunately, over the course of his career, he's been good against Minnesota. He's 7-4 lifetime, but this year, a radical departure. This year, he's 1-3, the ERA 6.30. And although there's a lot of strikeouts, and Chris does that, if he does not win the Cy Young Award, it most likely will be because of these Minnesota Twins. They've been very tough on him this year. I know Chris is very frustrated. I look for a big outing for him today. And his opponent is Cal Gibson. He's a sinker baller. As you can see this year against our Sox, he's 2-0, his ERA 1.64. That's in 3 starts. So this is a guy that has to keep the ball down. If you make him get the ball up, you're going to be able to hurt him. If he keeps the ball down and throws ground balls, he's going to have a good day.
Well, it's Star Wars Day here at the ballpark, so may the Force be with us as we look to take the rubber match. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Star Wars Day at the ballpark, and we've got a lot of Princess Leias, we've got a few Chewbacca's, we've got some Stormtroopers, and Darth Vader, of course, making his ever-present appearance. So let's take a look at Chris Sale, and let's see what Chris Sale has done overall this year and during the course of his career. 56-37 with an ERA of 2.88 in 112 starts. Now, as you all know, he does strike out a lot of people. This year, he's fanned 247 already. And this is a guy that gets it done each and every time out. He's got the longest streak in the major leagues with at least 6 strikeouts per game. And here's what he's chasing. The 247 is chasing Ed Walsh, who, as you can see, is one of the most prolific strikeout artists maybe in the history of baseball. And his record in 1908 of 269 is certainly in jeopardy for Chris. They've already announced they're not going to hold him back or shut him down at all. He's going to go after that record, and most likely he's going to get it. So Chris Sale going to the mound in the third final and rubber game of the series, and we'll be back after these messages with baseball.
Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Audi, truth in engineering. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
We'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Palo Cooperative Telephone in Palo, Iowa. Welcome back to beautiful U.S. Cellular Field. It's just a gorgeous day for baseball. A lot of clouds in the sky, no rain in the offing, and the temperatures are gorgeous. Let's take a look at the wild card in the American League, and it's getting hotly contested. You see the Rangers 1 game ahead of the Twins, 2 games ahead of the Angels, and the Indians hanging there 4 games back. It's going to be a little tough for them, but the race is on. There's a look at the Hall of Famer, Paul Molitor, in his first year as a skipper of these Minnesota Twins, and he's got his team right where he wants them, playing meaningful games in September. And there you look at his numbers. He inherited a baseball team that everybody underrated except them. And that's the most important thing, and it's found them right in the thick of the race. So let's take a look at how Paul is going to line up his Twins for the game today. Aaron Hicks leading it off. Then it's Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano. Trevor Plouffe, who's had a whale of a series with Torrey Hunter, Eddie Rosario, Kurt Suzuki, and Eduardo Escobar rounding it out. The defense and how they'll line up behind Chris Sale, left to right. J.B. Shuck, Adam Eaton, and Trace Thompson in the outfield. Mike Oltz, Tyler Saladino at shortstop with Micah Johnson at second, Adam LaRoche at first. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Chris Sale. This is 28th start. He's looking for his 13th win. His ERA 3.31, 247 big strikeouts in 184 and 2/3 innings. The umpires for the game this afternoon: Marty Foster behind the plate, Mike Winters is at first, Mike Muchlinski is at second, and Mark Wegner is at third. So as Robin and his ball club try to take this series from Minnesota, which would be costly for the Twins, We're ready to play baseball. They've thrown the ball around the infield, and it's time for me to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Finale of the series, and it's a great day to win a ball game. A few clouds in the sky, but just beautiful. 72 degrees as we speak. As here is the first pitch of the ball game to Aaron Hicks. Off the glove of Mike Olt, and that'll be a base hit.
If this is going to be similar to the script that the Twins have used all year long against Chris Sale, they go up there looking first ball fastball. They don't want to get in a position where he can wipe them out with that great straight change and that equally great slider.
Well, that's the formula that's been around for a long time. The better the pitcher, the quicker you better get him.
And Hicks hit the ball hard, and the carom off the glove made sure it was a base hit.
Because if you don't get him early, he's probably going to get you. As here's Dozier. Can't get that one at 94. Dozier 1 for 7 in the series, but he has had good success against Chris. 36 at bats, 11 hits, 8 of which stayed in the park. Good lead. And this is the 19th and final meeting of the year between these two clubs. In the first 18, they have won 12 of them. That's high, and that is souvenir time, left side. Twins come in hitting at .249 as a team with a 4.15 ERA. He gone.
Dozier went after the first pitch, didn't get it, and eventually Chris wiped him out with the straight change.
So here's Mauer. 1 for 6 in the first 2 games, and 8 for 35 lifetime against Chris Sale. Outfield slightly to the left. Twins 73 and 68. Our Sox 67 and 73. A lot of room between Face Thompson and that right field line. There he goes. So Micah's got him. Two down. That'll bring up the 22-year-old strongman, Miguel Sano. 6'4", 262 pounds.
He's been very quiet in this series, but if he gets a hold of one, he can put on a show.
Well, he's been the one guy in this series they have not made many mistakes on. They've made some good pitches on him. Slider strike. Lays off that one upstairs. That one at 94. And he just put a little short stroke on that one. So it is quickly 1-0 Minnesota.
RBI number 44 for Sano. This is a changeup, and it's a good pitcher's pitch, but he just reaches out, takes it essentially right back up the middle. In fact, Paul Molitor was going to put motion on. The hit and run situation with Hicks going, keeping Maurer out of a double play, led to a run.
And here's Trevor Plouffe. That swing that he put on that pitch right there shows he had a good idea of what he was trying to do.
He's a pretty smart hitter for a young guy.
That big sweeping breaking ball. Plouffe 5 for 8 with a couple of home runs in this series.
Outfield playing him straight away. The infield pretty much the same.
Count evens at 1.
Plouffe, I don't think liked the call, but that being said, that ball had the whole strike zone.
And that ball into right field. So another nice approach by a Minnesota hitter.
This looked like a fastball down and in. And an inside-out swing. This is 97. Plouffe, who's had just a terrific series, has uncharacteristically taken the ball to right and right center field.
You get a guy like Chris Sale out there, if you're a strong right-handed hitter, you better alter your plans as far as the home run has got to be a reaction, not part of your thinking, as that's high and into the seats for a souvenir. Right-handed hitters, they try to beat Chris to right field, they've got a much better chance of being dangerous. Threw that one by Torrey. Just did get a piece of it. Torrey is fun to watch.
He's taken some really unusual swings.
He's fun to watch. He always has been.
Against Chris Sale, when he swung at one that hit him square in the leg, he had a great reaction to that as he had to go back to the dugout.
He's got a couple home runs off Chris. That fastball at 98. He was on it just underneath it.
That fastball by Chris Sale, the Torrey Hunter, registered at the aforementioned 98 on the fast pitch gun. Brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest Wi-Fi at home or on the go.
He was all over that slider. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, 1 in. You're in the top of the first if you're just joining us. Tacks it up and the count 1-2.
Chris has been reaching back and trying to get something extra in this first inning, something he doesn't normally do. But being in trouble, not wanting to let this team get too far ahead, he's gone to the well.
And that went into the seats.
That's going to go as a wild pitch. That slider bounced just in back of the plate and bounded away.
That was the 7th wild pitch of the year. And another good swing by Torrey on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the common denominator determining factor on age in the game of baseball, is that when you can't catch up to the high velocity fastballs, you got a big problem. When you can, you're still dangerous.
Well, the Twins in this series have been particularly dangerous in the first inning. In the first game against Eric Johnson, they loaded the bases only to see him get out of it with a spectacular catch by Avi in right field that would have unloaded the bases. Then in the ball game last night, a long first inning, not because of anything that Quintana did. It was because the defense wasn't particularly good, but he threw a bucket full of pitches and gave up a couple of runs.
That ball hit hard into left field. And that is a 3-run homer. And it is 4-0 Minnesota.
That's home run number 19. And Torrey now has 68 runs batted in. A Ford home run replay. And Hunter had a terrific at bat. Unfortunately, Chris Sale tried everything, couldn't put him away, and at the end of the day, Torrey Hunter won the battle.
So here's Rosario. Well, when you can still catch up to a 96-mile-an-hour Chris Sale fastball, and you can foul off 98s and 97s, you can still play.
I'm pretty sure that the Twins are going to ask him back. The question is, does he want to come back at this point? He told me that if he stayed in the shape that he was in now, if he could stay in that shape and feel he was still productive, and by looking at his numbers, you'd have to think that he will be, that he would come back.
There's a rolling breaking ball into right field by Rosario.
That's going to bring Don Cooper out from the dugout. Tyler Flowers out from behind the plate. As Chris Sale against the team that has been his big nemesis this year, having a tough first inning.
Well, they've got a plan. They've got a Bruno, Tom Brunansky, hitting coach, has given them a definite plan against Chris Sale, and it has worked.
And we
you
saw
don't get greedy.
No, you saw it also with Hicks. He swung at a first ball fastball, and that put Chris Sale immediately into the stretch. And then these guys pecked away at their at-bats, and Hunter stayed alive until he got a pitch, a good pitch, a good hitter's pitch, and he hit it.
Here's Suzuki. Against good pitchers, you cannot go up there looking for the ball. You have got to have a plan. It's that old saying, a bad idea is better than no idea at all. There's a strike.
Pitch number 29 on the way. So a laboring first inning for Chris Sale.
There he goes. Got him. But a crooked number goes up on that board. And after a half inning of play, it's 4-0 Twins. They're going to review the play. Molitor's out.
We'll take another look at it. Looks that he was out. Looked that he tagged him on the back before that left leg got to the bag.
And Molitor thinking the same thing, so that'll retire the side.
Line up our Sox for the game this afternoon. Adam Eaton leading off, and it's Tyler Saladino. Jose Abreu, the DH, with Adam LaRoche. Trace Thompson, J.B. Shuck, Mike Olt, Tyler Flowers, and Micah Johnson at second and hitting ninth. The defense, and how they'll line up behind Kyle Gibson, Eddie Rosario, Aaron Hicks, and Torrey Hunter in the outfield. Trevor Plouffe, Eduardo Escobar, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer in the infield. Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Cal Gibson. 9-10 this year with an ERA of 3.87. He's a sinker baller. That's by far his best pitch. He does have a pretty good straight change. Sinker ballers normally are most vulnerable in the first inning because usually that surge of adrenaline is not conducive to sinking the ball. It is riding the ball, and ground balls that will come along later were our line drives early in the game.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours as Adam Eaton takes ball one. Adam 4 for 9 in the series, hitting at .274, 13 homers and 46 driven in. There's a strike, and the count 2-1.
Gibson lifetime against our ball club 3-0 with a 2.60 ERA. This year 2-0 with a 1.64 ERA.
Late call right there. 2-2. It's full. Chopper to Hopper. One out.
That's one of the things you don't like to see from Gibson early is throwing ground balls, because if he's averaging a couple of ground balls an inning, he's going to be hard to beat.
Up and in, ball one to Saladino. Gibson, 6'6", 215 pounds. Out of Fort Myers, Florida. Born in Greenfield, Indiana. Plouffe makes his own hop. 2 down. So right now, let's check out our picks to click. Jim Anjar, director of the crew. Chuck, that's with Mike Leary and Dave Ross. Steve's going with Adam LaRoche and David Novak and all the great folks at Pookie Hyundai out in Downers Grove. We're going to go with Saladino. Here's Abreu. If he's going to make pitches like that all day, this ball game is over.
Now that was a good slider, low and away, perfect pitch.
Why want to count?
Gibson went to the University of Missouri and was a first-round pick of these Twins, the 22nd player chosen overall in 2009. So they thought very highly of him then.
It's going to be an easy 1-2-3 inning for the big right-hander. And it is still 4-0 Minnesota.
You enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
And fans, you can interact with CSN Chicago during the game by using the hashtag White Sox Talk, and make sure to follow us on Twitter at CSN Chicago. First pitch to Suzuki. Taken for a strike. Kurt hitting at 241, 5 homers, 44 knocked in. Suzuki 1 for 7 in the series, 8 for 21 lifetime off Chris.
Those are pretty good lifetime numbers against an excellent pitcher.
Here you go.
Strikeout number 2 in the K zone is especially happy. Took a little something off the slider and had Suzuki well out in front of it.
Here's Escobar. He also has had good luck against Chris. 6 for 18. When you see all these good at-bats that this Minnesota team has had against one of the best pitchers in the game, they'll just validate the approach that they have against him and the game plan.
And I would assume that it's the changing of hitting coaches that probably helped him, because Chris is 7-4 against his team lifetime. He didn't have a lot of problems with him until this year.
High in the center field, Adam.
Join us at U.S. Cellular Field on Saturday, October 3rd, as the White Sox host the Detroit Tigers at 6:10. First 10,000 fans will receive an exclusive stretch sale action figure. For tickets or more information, visit whitesox.com.
Here's Hicks. And an infield single off the glove of Mike Olt, leading off the ball game. And that started that 4-run first. One and two the count.
Another slow breaking slider. Had Hicks well out in front of it, but he was able to stay alive.
And tries to gas him upstairs. 2-2. Payoff pitch. Nice. Change up. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. So after an inning and a half, we trail it by 4.
Wednesday, September 16th for my favorite night at the ballpark, Bark at the Park at U.S. Cellular Field, presented by Avoderm Natural Pet Foods and Nylabone. For more information, visit whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Kyle Gibson has himself a nice 4-run lead here going to the bottom of the second inning. He had a 1-2-3 first. So for us, it'll be LaRoche, Thompson, and Shuck. Schiff's got him. One pitch, one out. So here's Trace Thompson. 2 for 4 in the series. He's been one of the bright spots since joining this ball club.
Now he's getting some starts against the right-handers, which is a good sign. And the fact that he's responding by hitting the right-handers pretty well. You like the paths he takes going after fly balls?
I like everything he does on the baseball field.
Looks really good.
Well, you know, I've been talking about him now for 3 years. He's going to be a good one. He's just going to get better and better and better. I love his opening remarks when he joined the club about playing against right-handed pitching. He said, I love to hit against right-handers.
To get to the major leagues, you really have to hit against everybody. And what he's going to have to see, he's going to have to see some of the better sliders in the league. He's going to have to see some of the better curveballs in the league from right-hand pitchers. He's going to have to see how their straight changes move. And he's been able to square up a lot of fastballs against both right and left-handers. That hasn't been a problem.
Two down. Well, I haven't talked to him in depth and don't want to. Because I think sometimes when a youngster comes to the big leagues and he's got the talent that Trace has, leave him alone. Let him play. Let him go out there and play.
There's no reason to make an adjustment to somebody who's sitting over 400.
Or even if sometimes I've seen it happen, they'll go 0 for 1 or 0 for 2 and somebody's in their ear already. I mean, that to me is just, that hadn't happened in Trace's case, but I've seen it happen a lot in the past, and that's ridiculous. Let them play and let them go through some rough spots. It's not going to all be peaches and cream.
I think just about every good coach in the major leagues, when the guys under them, be they hitter or pitchers, when they're going well, you don't have to bother talking to them.
Leave them alone. Every now and then, if they're going a little bad, go up and pat them on the behind. And go. Don't talk to them. Just let them know you're there for them. That changeup Gibson has really befuddled our hitters.
It's also made him a much better pitcher. He had some problems. The slider was always pretty good, and he always had a pretty good sinker. But as that changeup has come around, he's become a much better pitcher these days.
Well, that's the reason he's befuddled our hitters. Two and two. And this is 6 up, 6 down for that 6-6 right-hander. Tune in to Sportsnet Central Inside the Huddle, featuring NFL expert and former Bears head coach Dave Wannstedt. Wanney will take us through the Week 1 opener against Green Bay and break down what the Bears excelled at and where they still need to improve. That's tonight at 10:30 on CSN Chicago. Ball one. Brian Dozier. Dozier saw a lot of pitches his first at bat before striking out. That's high and deep into left field. Right in front of the track. Chuck's got him for 1 out.
White Sox fans, celebrate your culture with Hispanic Heritage Night on October 2nd, presented by Miller Lite. There's going to be Latin music and dancing, special activities for kids, an on-the-field parade, and a post-game fireworks show. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Miller Lite, official beer of your Chicago White Sox. Tickets start as low as $10 to purchase. Visit whitesox.com/NHH.
Here's Mauer. And for all our Sox fans, our White Sox fans who have never seen Fenway Park, that last ball that Brian Dozier hit at Fenway Park is the landmarker.
We talked a little about it last night. Big Poppy. He had home runs 499 and 500. And there were a lot of Red Sox fans on hand in Tampa Bay. He came up after hitting the first home run and just got a ball down and hit a line drive rocket that left the park as quickly as any you've seen. A nice interview after the game, talking about the significance of being in the 500 home run club. Do you believe it's automatic acceptance into the Hall of Fame?
In his case, yes.
No, I mean, I'm talking about 500 as a number.
I don't. As Mauer, very seldom see him ever question a call. Meanwhile, he gone. I think there are exceptions to every rule in baseball. It's just like MVP. Does he have to be on the contending club?
Does he have to have staggering numbers? Kurt Gibson's numbers would argue to that the year he was the MVP.
It's just so subjective that they're going to have to clarify that, in my opinion. I mean, I think in the American League this year so far, up to, September 13th is clear cut that Josh Donaldson's the MVP.
I got to believe that's probably the way it's going to work out.
Over in the National League, you got some people pulling for Zach Greinke. And one of the stipulations about the guidelines for voting on the most valuable player, one of the stipulations is number of games played. That ball hit hard right at him, falls down and is safe. So it's a no.
He breaks back 4 steps, then falls, and it falls right in front of him.
But there have been pitchers who have won the MVP, Kershaw. But if that's one of the stipulations about voting for an MVP, the number of games played, which it is, the pitcher should never win it. So is that another base hit into center field.
Well, I absolutely agree with you in that respect. And even being a former pitcher, you know, pitchers have an award. It's called the Cy Young Award. They're eligible for that, and nobody else is eligible for that. So to carry over and allow a pitcher to win the MVP, which is for hitters and players, position players anywhere, for me, I know it occasionally happens. I think you got to give that to the hitters. Unless you have no hitters doing anything, which is almost impossible, and you know, then a pitcher stands out for whatever reason. Maybe he saves 65 games one year. Then you can make a case for it.
So here's our old nemesis, 40 years young. He's playing like he's very young. Torii Hunter, a 3-run homer in the first inning. Rips that one, and if you missed it, he had a good at bat. He fought off some tough pitches. A couple at 98, a couple at 97. Finally got one at 96.
He finally got one in the zone that he really wanted.
And he did not foul it off. And that's slicing foul. But getting back to the voting, I think the original set of criteria was back in 1931 that they set it up. Because you have the Cy Young, everybody knows what that is, pitcher. So that's pitching. Well, nobody ever calls MVP the Hank Aaron Award.
No.
So if they identified it as the Hank Aaron Award, then at that point it might eliminate the discussion we're having right now.
Well, look, Bryce Harper's had a magnificent year. Leads the league in runs scored at 104, batting average 333. Home runs, he's right there with 36. He's 2 behind Arenado.
Well, Arenado is definitely in the conversation, in the mix. I think for me it'd be Bryce Harper. Now all of a sudden, what do you want to do? Throw Yoenis in there, Cespedes.
It's hard when you're traded that late to one team. It's hard to give that guy the MVP, but he was the impetus for a rejuvenated offense that's taken the Mets and given them a stranglehold on their division.
No question about it. But if you go by the rules set down in 1931, are you talking about games played with one team, games played with one league, in one league? They're going to have to define it. Look at this at bat right here. So the ball is that he slipped on. Adam in center field scores. Wow.
4 runs batted in for Torii Hunter, giving him 69 for the year. And starting with the All-Star break, Torii had a real down period. Had a great first half, and then he experienced whatever it was where he just wasn't swinging the bat well. But this is kind of performance for Torii Hunter that he usually winds up accomplishing, which is gets better as the games get tighter and as the team gets closer to the postseason.
Another base hit. Another run. So we had 2 plays that could have been made, and this could be, believe it or not, a scoreless ball game.
RBI number 40. Rosario, a left-hander with 2 hits against Chris Sale. This is most unusual for Chris Sale, is the fact that lately he's having trouble getting left-hand hitters out. And this team, this Minnesota team, just trouble getting these guys out, period.
Here comes Coop.
Frankie Montas throwing now. Now, unfortunately, this particular kind of trip to the mound for Don Cooper is not one he wants to make, only in that too often we've seen that he's got to go out there and talk to the pitcher about not getting aggravated when plays aren't made or when various things have broken down defensively behind him. And that's probably at least a part of the conversation with Chris Sale.
So here's Suzuki.
That man made a catch of that bat as it skipped off the top of the dugout. Well, he got very fortunate, and the fortunate part is nobody's gotten hurt. But this ball skips off the dugout. I mean, the bat off the dugout, and right in his arms. That's unbelievable.
It's a wonder that bat didn't break hitting that guy.
Jeez.
Great play. And a very brave one. Rather than ducking, he went right after it. He must be a Marine.
Now we'll have to see what that one is. It's charged as a pass ball to Tyler Flowers. Yes, this is a rather large fellow. Needless to say, a very happy fellow. And as we mentioned, a very lucky fellow.
Well, the people behind him are very lucky.
Yes, they are. Lucky
he didn't duck. Yeah, so he wasn't running from it. He was running to it. The peg, and that'll retire the side. But we give them a couple of gift runs again, and they lead it 6-0.
Fan photo. Use hashtag Chicago Data Strong Fan. You just might see yourself on an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. At one point, Mike Olt was one of the highest rated prospects in a very fruitful Texas Ranger organization. And he's had some injuries, and it's really limited what he can do, but he's looked very good since coming over here. He's one of the guys that you root for because he's at a position that the Sox really have to fill.
He's 4 for 6 in this series, and at one time he was the #1 prospect in the Texas organization.
Well, he could hit him about as far as anybody.
Two on one to count. 6 runs on 9 hits for their guys. No runs on no hits for our guys.
Gibson lately keeping the ball in the ballpark. He hasn't allowed a home run in any of his last 4 games. This day and age, pretty good accomplishment.
Well, simply put, he's turned himself into a good pitcher.
And he's going to be 28 just after the season ends, or maybe if Minnesota gets hot, maybe during the postseason. That's really in the prime for a pitcher who's just started to learn his craft, and he has all the physical skills.
Fair ball right down past Plouffe. So he is held as Rosario, who has good speed, got to that ball in a hurry, and he can throw as well. That's the single, and you can cancel a post-game show.
He gets a good part of the bat on it, and you can see that Plouffe is well off the line. They've been playing him well off the line most of the series, and that's why 4 times in this series, one of the Sox hitters have hit one between him and the bag. And a wise choice by Mike Olt with nobody out.
Here's Tyler. One and one to count. Tyler faced Gibson 12 times, has 1 hit.
Like to send along birthday greetings to a big Sox fan, Bill Nagel.
They turn it.
Well, that was an excellent double play because Dozier was going away from the throw. Was starting his turn before he actually caught the baseball. Intent all the time and going to second base at least for 1. Escobar, good solid return throw. He's got a great arm.
He's got a gun. He's got a gun. When you get it to him, if there's any chance, he'll get you. So here's Micah. That ball ripped, caught. And they get him at first. Short hop. That's a hang with him for Micah Johnson. Meanwhile, it's still 6-0.
Montas, who's been on twice, doesn't have any record, doesn't have any ERA, does have a couple of innings with a strikeout, no walks, which is always good, and he's given up the 1 hit. So he's going to inherit a 6-run deficit. Chris Sale's line is brought to you by American Sale. 6 earned runs. And unfortunately against the Twins, 27 earned runs in 33 innings this year. So 9 hits in 3 innings. A tough outing for Chris.
Here's Escobar. He went out to center field his only trip. Stops that one foul.
For Chris Sale, the 2 shortest outings of the year. You have to go back to April 30th, where he went just 3 innings against these same Twins.
Well, this again is where numbers can really be misleading in baseball. 2 plays are made, those numbers are changed all the way around. 0-2. Two plays that should have been made. There would have been 1, 2, 3 innings.
And unfortunately, well, it cost not only a lot of runs, a lot of pitches.
The ball hit hard off the top of the fence.
We certainly saw this when he was here with the White Sox. Eduardo has become a terrific player. This was a slider down. He almost hit it out of the ballpark. And winds up at second.
Hit it too hard.
Sinking line drive.
Pops up left side. JB will take charge. 1 out. So here's Dozier. He is struck out and he just missed one. Leading off last inning.
A top of the zone strike.
Whoa, no, off that net, off the net.
Outfield straight away. Infield pretty much the same for one of, if not the most powerful second baseman in the game.
It was about a 52-footer. So 1-2 the count. we'll conclude this game, this series, and then starting tomorrow, Oakland comes into town. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then we go off on our last road trip of the season. He got away with a cookie right there. And it's going to try to come back. It did, but Tyler couldn't make the play.
This is a hanging slider over the middle of the plate. And as Tyler goes over toward the dugout, the ball eludes him.
Back up the middle.
Well, Gene Glynn had to do a good job of coaching there, because when he realized that this ball was not going to leave the infield and Micah Johnson was going to get it, Micah only had one play. It wasn't to first base. Dozier runs too well. His only thought was maybe, just maybe, he could get Escobar rounding the bag too far. But a good third base coach is your best friend. He's just going to point to the bag, and that's the heads up to any runner that the ball's still in the infield.
That'll bring up Mauer, who was grounded to second and struck out. Called out on a pitch he did not particularly care for, but it did have the bottom of the zone. All the games that we have played against Minnesota since Mauer has been in this league, I've never seen him argue with an umpire.
No, he's about as calm a player as you'll see. He did it when he was catching, which he did for a lot of years, and certainly as a hitter.
And Jose Abreu. Many bad calls as we've seen on him. I've never seen him argue with an umpire. Strike is called, and the count 1-2.
He put the third pitch right on top of the second pitch.
One out, runners at the corners. Escobar at third, Dozier at first. Full count.
So now in the on-deck circle, we'll see if Dozier, who's a pretty good base stealer, is running in an effort to stay out of the double play. Mauer's been striking out a lot more this year than in recent years. He's got 97 of them.
Now, I think they're talking about the count.
Mauer hasn't had the ball out of the infield yet in 2 at-bats. And the infield is about halfway. They're looking for a double play.
There he goes. And that'll load him up. So here is Miguel Sano. 2 singles, both to center field, 1 soft and 1 very hard.
Time now for the AT&T Uverse Multiview. Pretty decent speed on the base paths.
Boy, he got a cookie right there and couldn't do anything with it.
Sano, after a very quiet series, 2 for 2 today.
To the bag and crack him up, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. We trail it by 6.
Pizza. The day after the Sox score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off your entire online order at papajohns.com with the promo code SOX5. That's at all participating Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. It is Star Wars Day. Fairly nice crowd on hand, and everybody is having a terrific time. 73 degrees, just absolutely beautiful weather.
Everything except the score.
I was just saying, not enjoying the score too much, but outside of that, it's a nice day.
6-11 and 0 for them, 0-1 and 0 for us. First pitch strike to Adam Eaton. Grounded out to Dozier.
Six outs in 3 innings, courtesy of the ground ball. which is a little bit higher than normal. Last time out, Gibson was 60% ground balls.
That's in the center field. Hicks. So here's Saladino. He grounded out to Trevor Plouffe. Takes ball one.
Good movement that time from Gibson as he threw that fastball. It was moving in on Tyler and just kept on going in.
Look at this. This is a Kansas City special right there.
Well, that's what happens when Suzuki calls for a sinker and Gibson gets the ball up. On the Honda pitch tracks, you see where the location is. It's up and in. Suzuki called for a sinker. He wanted it low and in, and he was able to get enough on it to dump it into right field.
That'll bring up Abreu, who's gone out to Hicks in center field. If you're just tuning in, they scored 4 in the first, 2 in the third. Just one home run in the ball game, that a 3-run blast by Torii Hunter. Torii also with an RBI single. Adam LaRoche on deck. And count 1-2.
That was a good straight change. He kept it low and away and had Jose swinging over the top of it and out in front of it.
Two and two. And starting tomorrow, only 10 games left at home here this season. Tomorrow night, 1st of 4 against Oakland. It'll be Johnny Danks against Sonny Gray. Tuesday, Jeff Samardzija against Aaron Brooks. On Wednesday, Eric Johnson against Jesse Chavez. And on Thursday, Jose Quintana against Sean Nolan. That's high in the left field. Rosario. Two down. That road trip that we'll be going on after Thursday's day game. We'll go to Cleveland for 3, Detroit for 3, and New York for 4. Then come home on the 29th. Start off 3-game set with Kansas City. Finish it off with 3 against the Tigers, and then it's wait till next year. 2-0 the count to Adam. He hit the ball hard leading off the second, but they were playing a shift and hit it right at Escobar, who was on the first base side of the second. Three and 0. There is the first walk issued by Gibson. That'll bring up Trace Thompson. He struck out his first trip. Takes strike one. Oh, and 2.
Last time up, he got Trace on a very good sinker. It looked like it was going to be in the zone before a late drop just off the ground.
He did not go. Decent technique he's got on the check swing. Plus, it helps to be strong. Uh-oh. Right to him. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 5th. Trailing by 6.
Bank Stadium Club offers breathtaking views of U.S. Cellular Field and delicious food and beverage options. And you can enjoy them prior and during White Sox games. Purchase a First Merit Bank Stadium Club membership by calling 312-674-1000.
First pitch to Trevor Plouffe, who was 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored, taken for a strike. That one at 95 from Frankie Montas. Torrey Hunter on deck. Rosario in the hole. Between these hitters, they have 8 hits. Snow had 2. Plouffe had 2. Hunter has 2. Rosario has 2. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh place hitters. That's pretty good production. One and 2 the count. He gone. Dead half part of the corner. A beauty.
They had a Sox stumper up on the video board. And we'll tell you about it after we show you a very good slider. Perfect position. Sox stumper was, which former White Sox pitcher was the quarterback for Gale Sayers at the University of Kansas? And the answer to that was Steve Ranko.
Big right-hander.
He's a teammate of mine, and he was a huge right-hander.
Torrey, that 3-run homer, then that RBI single. You know, has 19 homers and 69 driven in. That combined with all the intangibles makes for a heck of a year for number 48. That's in the center field. That should be a count of corn. Torrey, one of those guys who's had that TWTW from day one, the will to win.
When I talked to Paul Molitor about what he could possibly expect as a first-year manager coming into spring training this year, and he said, well, you expect to win, but you don't know if you're really going to. He said, the one thing I did know for sure was that I was going to get as good a leadership this year as anybody in the league because of the presence of Torrey Hunter.
Well, he can speak from first-hand knowledge because he and Torrey at one point were teammates. That is getting to be more and more critical because of money. Rosario goes through it. The more you see this kid here, the more you like him. Well, he can run, he can throw, he can hit. Got a big pop.
He's got a chance to be very good, and I'm not sure if they expected him to burst on the scene and take an everyday job in the outfield, but it's been pretty close. And also, we've seen him against left-hand pitchers before, not just today. And he doesn't give a lot of ground to them. In fact, doesn't give any ground.
No,
It's good swings against them.
He gone. That one is 98. He just threw it right by him, and we're halfway home. And we got big problems. Thank you very much, buddy. As we get set to go to our half of the fifth inning, we trail it 6-0. 6-11-0 for them. No runs, just 2 hits, and no errors for us. It'll be Shook, Olt, and Flowers. Shock 0 for 1 popped up to Dozier at second. Takes ball 1.
In what for the Yankees is a somewhat critical game, not only because of the division race, but because of the wild card, they are leading Toronto 5-0 in the Bronx. They came in 4.5 games in back of Toronto. But they also came in right in the thick of the wild card race.
Dozier's going to get him again. This time on the ground. So here's Olt. Had our first hit leading off the third inning. That's a big game for the Yankees.
Especially with losing a doubleheader to Toronto. And knowing that Mark Teixeira is lost for the year. He did exactly what Jermaine Dye did when Jermaine was playing with Oakland. He fouled one off his shin. His shin broke. And Teixeira is lost for the year. A huge loss for the Yankees.
2 down. Just the second strikeout for Gibson. Tyler hit into a 4-6-3 double play. Cardinals leading Cincinnati 4-2, bottom of the 7th. Cincinnati having a real tough year.
Yeah, but yesterday was a big day for them as they beat the Cardinals in a doubleheader, pushing Pittsburgh just 2.5 games in back of St. Louis coming into today.
Cincinnati coming in 21 games under 500.
With one of the most dominant closers in all of baseball on a roll as Chapman. Yet a great closer doesn't help you when you're in last place.
One, 2-3 inning. And it's still 6-0 Minnesota. Night, American League Rookie of the Year candidate Billy Burns and the Oakland A's hit town for the first of 4 with Tyler Saladino, Trace Thompson, and our Sox. So don't miss the first pitch at 7 p.m. right here over CSN Chicago. It is 6-0 Minnesota in the finale of this 3-game set and the final game of the year between these two teams. They scored 4 in the first, 2 in the third, but that's not the real story. The story is they could have had a scoreless first and a scoreless third, but it didn't work out that way. So here we go. Suzuki, Escobar, then back to the top of the order with Aaron Hicks. Everybody but 2 guys in this lineup has a base hit. Suzuki is one of them. He has struck out and grounded out to third. The other is Joe Mauer. On the count. And it's 1-2. Just had a little foul tip right there.
Well, hitters love that, don't they? To get a pitch out of the zone, they go to check it up, and it just barely ticks off the bat.
Close, but off the corner. Full count.
Hey, Sox fans, join Ron Kittle, Harold Baines, Avisail Garcia, and Carlos Sanchez on November 28th for the Sox on the Beach Apple Vacation. This 7-night all-inclusive hotel stay will be at the Iberostar Paraiso Del Mar in beautiful Riviera Maya, Mexico. There's going to be a private welcome party, an autograph session, food and drink, and a special group of activities with your White Sox hosts. Visit applevacations.com/White Sox to book your trip today.
Escobar has gone out to center, and he has doubled.
Outfield just a couple of steps toward left center. Frankie's fastball anywhere from 95 to 99.
And on days when he feels pretty good, he'll hit triple digits. Base hit. So the leadoff walk now stands on third base. Runners at the corners and nobody out.
Escobar having a very good day. It's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Pulls it in the hole. And some problems here in the 6th.
Here's Hicks. Had an infield single in the first. Then he flied to center and popped up to left. That one at 95. Hicks, a former standout golfer when he was growing up. Spends a lot of his time in participating in charity golf events. Almost walked right into that one.
That one wouldn't have been real comfortable off the kneecap at 96.
Yeah, had him out in front on that change. 2-2.
Gene Glynn had to dance on top of that one nicely. Try to get out of the way.
Full count.
Jake Petrichka loosening in the pen.
And that'll load him up. Second walk of the inning.
So here comes Don Cooper. Give Jake Petrichka a chance to get loose, try to settle down his young right-hander. He's got a problem. Bases loaded on 2 walks and a single. And the heart of the order coming up with nobody out.
Dozier 1 for 3, had an infield single. Good fastball hitter. That's right back below us. To our right. And a count 0-2.
Oh, 0-2 pitch. That one in the dirt. Tyler able to swat it in front of him. And Suzuki's not going anywhere.
Bit of a gap out there in right center. He gone. One out. Third strikeout for Frank.
This one in the dirt, out of the strike zone, and Dozier can't check it out.
So here's Maurer. He is grounded to second. Struck out. He was called out. And then he walked. Take strike one. Made a good pass at that breaking ball. Just underneath it. And the count 0-2. Now throw one right underneath his hands. That breaking ball low. A breaking ball into left field for a base hit. That's 7-0.
60th run batted in for Maurer. Inside out swing.
Well, if you give him a chance to direct his swing, he can do it much better on an off-speed pitch. And you give him a chance and he'll redirect it to left field. That's how he's made an awful lot of money in this game.
And will continue to for quite some time with that gigantic contract.
Yeah. Here's Sano. Yeah, when you get a guy like Maurer, who basically is an opposite field hitter, and you get a chance to reroute or redirect it, you got to make him beat you on hard stuff. If you're a right-hander. One and one to count. Sano 2 for 3 with an RBI and a couple of runs scored. High. Trace. Long way to go, and that's in the seats. So the count 1-2. Big game at the Big A in Anaheim. After one inning, Angels leading Houston 1-0.
Angels trying to fight their way back into this thing. They've won 7 of their last 10, including the last 3 in a row. And they trail Texas Rangers by 2 games.
Bingo. 2 down. Interesting scenario out in Angel Land on the GM position. There'll be a lot of GM openings.
There'll be probably as many general manager openings as there will be managerial openings, which is really rare during one off season.
Here's Plouffe. He's 2 for 3 with a couple of runs scored. Takes first pitch, breaking ball strike.
One thing you do know, because of all the years he spent there, Bill Stoneman probably wants to go back to what he was doing before they asked him to be the interim general manager.
Threw that one by him at 98. Just got a piece of it. Yeah, there'll be some moves. It'll be interesting over the winter just to follow what goes on.
The Hot Stove League is always entertaining, exciting if you were involved in the middle of it, both in trades and this year, a lot of front office shakeup.
Big on. They score 1, and they lead at 7-0.
The Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Chicago Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Meantime, Frankie did a nice job of scrambling out of that inning. There was a lot going on. He had a couple of walks, a couple of base hits, 3 strikeouts, and got out of it with only 1 run.
Yeah, when you got the kind of stuff he has, you can get yourself out of jams.
And Chewbacca certainly enjoying the weather.
Here's Micah. Micah grounded out to second. One to count. Tremendous upside for that young man right there. You can run like he can run. And that's fine. Plouffe. He'll just ease his way into second base. We scored 7 in the fourth last night. Let's do some damage here in the sixth.
Well, the one thing we've proven conclusively in this series is that our guys can hit the ball to the right of Trevor Plouffe a lot. Now, that might not be as successful a series as you watch Micah Johnson turn it on. He's got great speed.
They'll try to do it left of
No,
Plouffe.
he plays off the bag a wide margin, thinking that that hole to his left is going to be hit to more frequently than down the line, but hasn't worked out that way in this series.
Yeah, we've got some talented young infielders. Carlos Sanchez is going to get better and better and better. Saladino is going to get better and better and better. Micah Johnson, if he can stay healthy.
Talked to Micah before the game today, and he's feeling good. Certainly happy to be here. I congratulated him on a fine play he made the other night. Diving stop to his right. Just an outstanding effort.
Maurer will take it himself. Micah in the third, one out.
Enter the White Sox Fan Appreciation Sweepstakes now for a chance to win a variety of unique prizes, including a jersey autographed by the 2005 White Sox. You also get tickets to Fan Appreciation Day on October 4th and more. Visit whitesox.com/summersweeps.
Tyler's grounded to third and then had a Kansas City special. Doug Snored into right field. They're going to come to the plate to save the shutout. And they'll get it. That's speed.
And Kurt Suzuki wants Paul Molitor to take another look at it. Plouffe took his time, made what appeared to be a pretty good, solid throw to the plate. And now they want to look at it again. Well, he really takes his time, but makes a good throw. The ball beats him by plenty. Well, it appears that he got him.
Yeah. So they will review it. And on that shot, that angle, you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it depends on the right hand. If the right hand got the back of the plate, it looks like the hand might have gotten in if he got the plate. And there, the right hand did not get the plate.
No, he's out.
I think kicking up that cloud of dust might have been difficult to call if you don't slow it down like that.
One thing about it as well, Kurt Suzuki, probably 99% of the time, if he ever asks for a review, he's going to be right. A lot of times you go on players. We got some guys that every time it's close play, they want to review.
Yes.
Most of the time, they overturn. Meanwhile, he's gone.
They got him.
2 out. So here is Jose. He's going out to center and he's going out to left. Decent lead by Tyler. And I really like that play. Even though it was really elementary. I like the play by Plouffe. And I'll guarantee his pitchers love that play.
I can understand. You get 2 outs in the 9th inning, 1 out in the 9th inning, 7-0 lead. That's one thing. But you're talking about the 6th inning. I don't like to concede runs. And Plouffe knew he had plenty of time. He did take his time, made a perfect throw. And on the challenge, they wind up overturning the call.
Plouffe. And that'll do it. We threaten, can't score. Into the 7th, trailing by 7. News from Hallis Hall. Watch Coach Fox's weekly press conference and more on United Bears Recap, hosted by Chris Bowden and former Bears Dan Jiggets, our guy Dan Jiggets. So that's tomorrow at 4:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
And we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Jake Petrichka. So nice job by Montas. He went 3 innings. He had a run on 4 hits. There's a look at Jake's numbers. On for the 58th time. He's 4-3. His ERA 4.17. And it's a 7-run deficit. Barry Garcia checks in the game at shortstop, which shift Tyler Saladino to third base, which pushes Mike Olt to first base.
So here's Torrey. He's 2 for 3, a 3-run homer, an RBI single. First pitch by Jake, taken for a strike. Torrey with a couple of great throws in the first game, throwing out runners. The old man can still play. Wouldn't surprise me if he played the way he is and shape he's in 2 or 3 more years. Yanks that one foul. You can still turn a 98-mile-an-hour fastball around. You can still play in the big leagues.
Well, like just about every athlete up here, especially the great ones, they have a great deal of pride. And if he feels it's slipping away, he'll be gone. Because to him, having talked to him especially, it's not length of career that's important. It's quality of career. And right now, he's playing at a high level. Why not, if you're healthy, come back and play again?
He'd be the first one. He'd be the first one to hang him up himself. He's always played this game this way, and he'll go out his way.
I think it's great having an opportunity to come back to the first team brought you to the major leagues where you had a whole lot of thrills and a whole lot of winning, and still have enough baseball credibility and talent to be wanted back by your original team. And he says he's going to go out as a member of the Twins.
There's that guy Rosario again. He may have got first base with his heel. If he didn't, he missed it. But anyway, he's on second base with his 17th double. There, he got it, yeah. So here's Suzuki. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Frankie Montas, good job. There's a little duck snort, so to speak. Caught for out number 2. And here's Escobar, a double, a single. He's 2 for 3.
Oh, that poor guy, a fan, just reached over, had the ball in his hands, only to see it hit off his hands and bound down to the lower deck. So he's got sore hands and no souvenir. Yep, he's telling everybody how the big one got away.
1-2. Eduardo. Seven, 14-0 for them. No runs, 3 hits for us.
Ed Farmer, I think, had that one hit off his hand. Yep. He is right now apologizing to the crowd. Sorry, I had it. This dropped out at the last instant.
You pitchers.
Well, but we were the.
It's a good thing y'all could throw a baseball.
I was going to say the thing is we were pitchers. We weren't catchers.
It's a good thing you could throw a baseball. Rosario at second, 2 out. 2-2 the count. Here in the top of the 7th inning.
I was disappointed to see the designated hitter come in because I envisioned myself like the former White Sox slugger and pitcher Gary Peters.
Gary could hit.
Yeah, I couldn't, but I envisioned myself like that.
That'll retire the side. 7th inning stretch. Not good.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Our half of the 7th inning and a 7-0 Minnesota lead. Leury Garcia will lead it off.
First at bat of the day. And he's hitting in Adam LaRoche's spot.
Takes the strike. Count evens at 1. Kyle Gibson looking to go 2-0 this year against us and 4-0 in his career. Two and two. They scored 4 in the first, 2 in the third, 1 in the sixth. And a full count. We have stranded but 3 guys. Got him on the inside corner.
Gibson had gone there earlier in the at-bat, and this ball just drifts over the inside part of the plate, and he gets rung up.
Here's Trace. He's 0 for 2. Breaking ball strike. Two down.
The most popular way to follow the action of the White Sox is MLB.com at bat. #1 app for live baseball. At bat brings you baseball wherever you are with live look-ins, highlights, replay previews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and the MLB.TV Game of the Week and more. Download the MLB.com at bat app on your smartphone or tablet now.
So here's Shuck. He has popped up to second, and he has grounded out to second. And he takes ball 1. And that is just foul.
Well, it was a good play. They went through with it. But JB's got another life. As Mauer, who made the adjustment nicely, barely sticks in the glove, and the backhand flip. Good effort, but for naught.
You could have put Joe Mauer just about any place on that field. He would have done a good job.
Including quarterback at Florida State.
Bobby Bowden really wanted him bad, as did every other college in the country.
Well, you know, being as good a throwing catcher as he was, he had a great arm, and he's 6'5".
Dozier. Close play. But they get him. And we're into the 8th.
Last time out, a very tough outing for him, just coming back off the disabled list. He's on for the 43rd time. He's 3-3, his ERA 3.70. And opponent's hitting .221, which is still a very good number. He's been nicked up a few times this year. Had a terrific year last year. Started out throwing the ball very well this year. And he's got to deal with the top of the order for these Twins who have come in, bidding to take 2 of 3, and came into action today, 1 game back in the wild card. And so Minnesota playing, well, as good as just about anybody in baseball since the All-Star break. And they propelled themselves, despite going 5-5 in the last 10, right in the thick of the wild card race. Just 1 game behind Texas and trying to fend off the Angels, who are 1 game in back of them.
Well, you got 2 guys in the hunt for Manager of the Year, certainly in Paul Molitor and A.J. Hinch.
I would think so.
I mean, if you can't put those 2 guys in there, who are you going to put?
I mean, everybody, or a great deal of people, knew that Kansas City would be very good this year. But a big surprise from the Houston Astros, certainly. Somewhat of a surprise from Texas. It's supposed to be a down year for them, especially after Darvish was lost for the year.
Jeff Bannister's done a terrific job down there.
He really has done a nice
job. I would think those are the 3 top candidates for that honor. Hicks can't get it. He's 1 for 3 with an infield single, run scored, and a walk. He did not go.
No profanity.
Softly hit. That speed of Micah Johnson will take him out there in the short right center field.
The one thing we've seen in the short time he's been back to the major leagues is that Micah is not shy about taking pop-ups.
When you have this kind of speed, you're going to have some hairy situations out there on those little soft fly balls in the short right field, short right center.
And historically, we've seen some infielders who get a little shy when there's even a thought of a collision with an outfielder. Micah's not one of those guys.
Well, we've seen some infielders who absolutely would no way get close to an outfielder with some pop-ups. Dozier. He's 1 for 4. And that's foul.
New York Mets are having just an enchanted year. They were down 7-4 to the Braves in the top of the 9th inning. Put a couple of men on, and now it's 7-7.
And there's a base hit for Dozier. So here's Mauer. And a guy who has gone under the radar. I mean, really under the radar this year. Even playing in New York. For driving in big runs and getting the job done has been Curtis Granderson.
He's having a nice comeback year.
You better believe it. I'm talking about clutch. Big time clutch.
Also, Curtis, one of the nicest guys in the league. Has been from the time he came into the league.
Well, he's got good genes. Got great parents.
Well, it's going to be good chance it's going to be
Yep.
E3, E6.
Yep.
High throw at second pulls Leary off the bag way wide, and then the return throw nowhere near the bag. It is E3, E6.
So here's Sano. Big hack. Miguel is 2 for 4 RBI and 2 runs scored. Oh, and 2. Laid off that one. Angels leading Houston 2-0 after 3 at the Big A. Trout has hit his 35th.
If the scores were to hold up, Texas leading 6-0 in the bottom of the 5th against Oakland and Texas. If that holds up, and a long way to go for the Angels, but if they can defeat Houston, Texas is going to be half a game back in the AL West, half a game back at Houston.
He gone. 2 down. Saw with some scouts, and they said that since Beltre got back, that ball club's just a different team. And it's understandable.
And the psychological aspect of trading for Cole Hamels, as well as the physical aspect. I mean, he's a terrific pitcher, but it certainly looked like Texas was ready to do everything they could to get this present team into the playoffs.
Here's Plouffe. He's 2 for 4, a couple of runs scored.
There you see the shadows around home plate and Zach Putnam in bright sunshine.
Now Tanaka, Betances. And 8 innings of work against Toronto. 4 hits, no runs. That's hard to do. 10 strikeouts. Yankees won that game 5-0.
Probably as close to a must-win as any game the Yankees have played if they're thinking at least about catching Toronto.
Full count with 2 down. Runners at the corners. High pop up right side. And that'll retire the side. So Zach pitches over a couple of errors. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, trailing 7-0.
As we move around and show them to you. Aaron Hicks shifts to right. Then there's a fastball for a strike, and Byron Buxton takes over in center field, where he made a fine play yesterday.
Boy, that was a good play he made.
Kenneth Sargis takes over first base.
And 0-2 the count to Mike Olt. He's 1 for 2. The guys really have not had a lot of at-bats against Kyle Gibson. And 2 at-bats coming into the 8th inning. That's pretty dominant.
Well, 3 hits. He had that sinker working early. We could tell the first inning when he threw a couple of ground balls to the first 2 hitters, Eaton and Saladino, that the sinker was working. When it does, he's very good.
One out.
Twins pen up and going. It's Casey Fiend, the right-hander, and Neil Kotz, the very familiar left-hander.
Here's Tyler. He's 0 for 2.
Zach Duke is loosening in the pen. As you can see, only one time did Kyle Gibson hit the 20 pitch mark. That was in the 4th inning. So he's been very good this afternoon.
Well, to put it bluntly, we've been overmatched by Kyle Gibson today. Only had 2 men aboard in 1 inning once.
And he came in 2-0 with a 1.64 ERA against our club and didn't do anything today to hurt either of those. The ERA is actually going to go down from 1.64.
You're just tuning in, just 1 home run in the ball game. And that by Torrey Hunter, a 3-run blast in the first inning. When they scored 4 and just has the base hit. That'll work, Tyler. Torrey Hunter also with an RBI single. So our Sox nemesis for years. 2 for 4, homer, and 4 big RBIs. Here's Micah Johnson. He's 1 for 2, a double. And he's got a big backswing, which most of the time guys that do have that kind of backswing will tell the catcher, hey, hang loose.
Yeah, he can hit him in the head, the mask, and many times the hand.
And if he's the left-handed hitter, get him in that elbow. Starting tomorrow, 4 with the Oakland A's.
And their ace, Sonny Gray, goes to the mound tomorrow night.
So make your plans to be with us. Starting tomorrow, only 10 more home games. Johnny Dank's on the bump for us. Johnny's been pitching well. If you can't make it, that game will be right here over Comcast Sportsnet on Tuesday. Jeff Samardzija against Aaron Brooks. That game also on Comcast Sportsnet. As here's Adam. Guns it over. Can't beat it.
I'm not sure exactly why Plouffe didn't go to second base. Tyler Flowers running as opposed to a guy with big speed in Adam Eaton.
So that's a base hit. Take it.
He had plenty of time, but not at first base. Here comes Paul Molitor. And hustling all the way, even on what appeared to be a routine ground ball.
This is the first series we played against Minnesota this year that Plouffe has not been outstanding at third base.
That's going to be it for Gibson, who did a whale of a job. He will depart. Fiend will come in. We'll step out and be back after these messages. He's 4-6. His ERA 3.46, on for the 54th time. There you look at the numbers. He has allowed 6 home runs. This is our first look at him in this series.
So here's Tyler. Takes first pitch strike. Tyler 1 for 3. Saladino, David Novak, and all the great folks at Pookie Honda, Downers Grove, picked a click. Big hack, no contact. And the count 1-2. Two on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Comebacker. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 9th. 7 down.
High-speed action replay, and we highlighted the bullpen in the opening of the show because it's been awfully good lately, and today was no exception. Frankie Montas threw 3 innings, and he struck out 5 guys. There's 3 of them. Zach Putnam with a big strikeout of Sano. And so Zach Duke comes into the game. On for the 64th time. He's 3-5. His ERA 3.58. So Montas, Petrichka, and Putnam have been very good out of the pen today, and now it's Zach Duke to get an inning.
First pitch strike. Byron Buxton. 21-year-old outfielder who can really go get them. Quick, nice play. So here's Eddie Rosario. All he's done is go 3 for 4 today with an RBI. Eddie looks like he is going to be one real good player for this ball club. Just 23 years old. Can run, can throw, and can hit. That grand slam he hit off us at Target Field.
Yeah, that was a bomb.
That was way back. Two and one to count.
Visibility a little tough right now. This is why this time of year you hope to have the lead late.
Another one. 2 and 2. Yeah, one of the sayings in a lot of clubs, according to where their park is and how it's situated, is that let's don't wait till the 8th or 9th.
No, especially if the other team has a talented pen or some guys with really sharp breaking stuff, because you just don't see the rotation near as well in this visibility.
Sweeper. He gone. 2 down.
Talk about not being able to pick up the spin. That's as awkward as Rosario's looked probably in every game we've seen him play.
Well, you don't pick it up till it's right on top of it.
No, you get no chance.
No, and it's just like somebody throwing a black cue ball up there at it.
Trying to gauge
It's
the
the 8 ball
rotation.
without the white on there. Suzuki. Oh for 3. But he has walked and he has scored. And the count 0 and 2. Barrett, the only member of the starting lineup in the game without a hit. $23,159. Or check that. Prior. Nice inning for Zach. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th.
The game. It's Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite, and here's our Miller moment, and it came early in this game. Torrey Hunter takes Chris Sale out of the ballpark. Third time he's hit a home run off him, and that was a big blow and a 4-run first. And the Sox never recovered after that, as the Twins have kept the lead all game. So Michael Tonkin comes in the game. He's on for the 19th time. He doesn't have a record. He does have an ERA in excess of 6. He also has 7 runs beneath him. And Eric Fryer stays in the game to catch.
So here's Abreu. He's 0 for 3. He's going out to center. He's going out to left, and he is grounded to third. Takes first pitch strike. Leury Garcia on deck. That's in and out of the mezzanine. Top of the 10th in Atlanta. Mets have taken a 9-7 lead.
Well, they've been unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, they got it. They got it. Once you get it, it's tough. It's like a virus. They got the TWTW.
They got it, and Washington seems to be losing it with every game.
Yeah.
They came in 9.5 games and back.
That's fair ball. They got him. And that's out number 1.
High throw, but Vargas is a big man. He's able to put the tag on before Jose gets to the bag.
So here's Leury. He's been to the plate 1 time and struck out. Oh, and 2. Two down. If you're just tuning in, Cal Gibson. Wow, what a real solid, impressive outing for that 6'6" right-hander.
Well, he's coming to the age now. You talk about hitters in the same vein. He's coming to the age now where he's learned a lot. He's getting better. And if that straight change is as good as it's been against us this year, against other people, then he's going to win a lot of games.
Well, you're looking at definite 14, 15, 16 game winner because of that changeup and that slider. He just dominated us today. If you were just tuning in, we had no chance. Trace, get yourself a base hit right here, buddy. He's 0 for 3. And the count 1-2.
If he does get a hit, it probably not going to be on that hard slider away, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure in this visibility if he can follow it. Although Tonkin now has moved into the shadows.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. And here's a ground ball right side. Vargas has Tonkin right where he should be. They get him, and this ball game is over. So we get shut out for the 11th time this year as they win it 7-0. And let's check out our player of the game. It is our old nemesis, Torrey Hunter. 3-run homer in the first, RBI single in the third. Our player of the game. So for Steve Stone, for our director Jim Angio, for our producer Mike Leary, our associate producer Jeff Sermon, our technical manager Mark Harper, the executive producer Jim Corno Jr., and also for the mayor, Mean Joe Groove, Mike Mayer, Joe Paulsback, and Paul Carey. This is a Hawk. So long, everybody. You've been watching White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.